Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Can
good.
you
How
hear
are
me
you
okay?
doing? I can. Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
What's happening? Got
Not
the new
much.
setup. Got the new setup there, huh?
Yeah, working on it. I'm in a garage, but I'm
Okay.
trying to, as you can see, the garage door over here, but
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, working on
Right on.
something a little different. We'll see. But
See how it goes.
uh
Cool. Well, welcome to the show. Appreciate you.
thanks.
Appreciate you joining me. So basically, I'll do like a really like an intro for you. Really kind words and bragging about you and whatnot. And then we'll just go into it. I've got some questions, just kind of basic questions. And then I've got if you're up for it, we've got the Marcel Proust questionnaire, the James Lipton inside the actor's studio type of thing, if you'd like to do that towards the end too. So
Sure, absolutely.
cool. Hello and welcome to On the Rocks podcast. I'm Nate Callens, joined by a very special guest today, Mr. Devin Siebold. You guys know him from the interwebs in general. This guy's been everywhere, especially during the pandemic when I first got into him. So Devin Siebold is a comedy force to be reckoned with. He was named iHeartMedia Monsters in the Morning's Comedian of the Year, won the Boston World Series of Comedy, appeared on Laughs on Fox, won Side Splitters Comedian of the Year, then selected for Comedy Central Up Next, Florida Top 10 College Picks, and a semi-finalist in Florida's Funniest Comedian. Lots of awards there. He delivers an endless supply of intelligent, clean humor that appeals to all demographics. He has a unique wit-filled style to his delivery and will leave audiences engaged and rolling with laughter. He prides himself on being highly original and thought-provoking and pulls material from his unbelievable past dating experience, love of theme parks, and spending the past 10 plus years as a middle high school teacher in Florida. He's open for Peter Cetera, holy cow, Gilbert Gottfried, Pauly Shore, Nick DiPaolo, Adam Ferreira, Lonnie Love, Chris D'Elia, Ralphie May, and many others. Tours nationally and works all the major comedy club brands in the U.S. He's headlined many private communities and has had the pleasure of performing corporate events for the annual meetings of Clinicon, Narcotics Anonymous, and headlining the National Firefighters Convention in Indianapolis. He's been touring for over a decade with thousands of sold-out performances across the nation and internationally. If he is heading to your area, you don't want to miss an unforgettable night of comedy, laughter, and good times with Devin Siebold. Devin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You've got your own podcast called Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. It's the brainchild of you and your co-host, Greg, the Angry Texan Parrot.
Yep, and he's just as angry in real life. Just it never stops. He played
Sure.
one round of golf with him, and the second that he hits a bad shot, your entire day is over. Not just his, yours too.
Yours too. He ruins the days of everyone around him.
Yep.
Sounds like. So your podcast, it's born on the realization that all teacher podcasts were either practice-based or unrealistic, and you decided to kind of take it in a different direction and add some
Yeah.
humor and brutal reality. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's kind of evolved. In the beginning, it was almost just all comedy, kind of making fun of the things that we go through on a daily basis, a little bit of stress relief. And as the pandemic happened, it was interesting because I didn't even realize it until I was listening to a podcast in Australia. And there was an Australian teacher podcast that were like, yeah, we're big fans of Devin. And they go, his podcast has evolved, though. He doesn't realize it, but he's starting to take on a little bit more activism. And I was like,
Oh,
no, I'm not. And then I listened back and I was like, oh, yeah, I am, I
you're like, oh,
guess. But
damn.
yeah, but it's interesting how, as things start to progressively get, harder for teachers and, a lot of, I guess backlash kind of came our way. My podcast did kind of shift into part comedy, part activism, part awareness, a little bit of everything, but it definitely doesn't dive into the kind of research based this and that. We're all
Right.
emotions and having fun and laughing about things. And, I enjoy that aspect of kind of hosting a podcast that is, you can't, you don't have to take it seriously.
Right. And that's a huge thing, especially during the last, 19 months or so. When my wife discovered you, she discovered you on Facebook and she was showing me videos, seems like every day. And so that's kind of when we got hooked on your comedy, and you're super active on Facebook. And I think you've provided a lot of laughter and just kind of a break from all the reality. So I appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of my fans do, and obviously your fans do as well. Can you talk to me
Yeah.
kind of what it's been like for you the past, since March of 2020?
Weird. So I started doing these videos for I started doing stand-up comedy 10 years ago. And
Mhm.
then I started doing the videos probably about 5, 6 years ago. And I had, dozens and dozens of videos, and I was putting out little clips all the time, and they'd get like 200 views, 500 views. Like 1,000 was a big day for me. I
Yeah.
had one video go like mega viral, and it was just me making fun of Delta. It wasn't even like teacher related.
Right.
And so I did these videos for a long time, and it was so weird because the pandemic happened, and like literally within an instant, all of a sudden all my videos started to kind of take off, and it was a gift and a curse.
Mhm.
All the messages that I got were people saying, I really needed the laughter, this is tough times,
Mhm.
this and that. And so it was good to provide that, but also I was like, man, I was like, my whole career is about to be built on a national catastrophe, but that's kind of the way it worked out. I'm glad
Mhm.
that I was able to provide laughter and a little bit of lightheartedness to a heavy situation. But it's one of those things that I was doing it before the pandemic, and I'm just going to
Right.
keep on doing it and provide laughter after. So mhm.
And it's just been super fun to watch it just explode. I mean, it's been crazy. I don't know how many followers you had on Facebook at the beginning, but you've got almost 160,000 now, and it
Yeah.
must be kind of surreal for you.
Yeah, what's
uh,
weird too is my follower count is actually low compared to my views.
mhm.
It's a lot of people watch me. I don't think they've ever just clicked the follow, but I have so
Weird.
many people that, I'm all my videos will get like millions of views,
Right.
and it's great because everybody knows me, and like there's people that have been my fans for years, and then they
Mhm.
realize, oh, I never even followed that guy, and they would just, but it's so funny because they would just
Yeah,
see my videos through their teacher friends that always
sure.
shared it, and they just assumed they were following me. And I think it's a weird thing that I have so many views on videos
Hmm.
that are light year. I mean, there's other teacher comedians that have like, a million plus followers, and
Right.
yet their videos will get like 10,000 views,
Wow.
but mine
It's
can always go up.
it's the
And
opposite. It's all about those views anyway. So,
yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't take it too personally.
yeah, that's
It,
true.
it is funny
Views.
too. Once people, once other people start interacting, that's how I see a lot of stuff too. It's like how the algorithm is, it just keeps boosting it to the top. And if everyone's commenting and my friends are watching it and liking your videos, it just ends up seeing it more. It's just kind of weird how it's kind of the grassroots way of growing your brand. And it's definitely worked for you, it seems like.
Yeah, I will say this though. A video of mine, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but a video of mine has a shelf life of about a
Hmm.
week. And the reason I say it has a shelf life of a week is because for the first week, it's all teachers commenting, engaging,
Hmm.
loving it. It's so funny. And then about a week later, Facebook will throw it out to the general population,
Oh,
and the comments will just start to be vile, man. I don't
uh,
respond to half of them, but
no,
there are some people that hate teachers,
that's
and so yeah, I have my video of me talking about teachers getting paid more. And
hmm.
that one for the first week was great. After that, I mean, I can pull it up right now, and I guarantee the last 20 comments were communist and this and that. Your teachers
What?
are ruining, teachers are greedy, the unions are ruining America. And so I honestly give it a week, and then
Wow.
I decide I'm not responding to any more of these. I leave it at that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And,
it's
and
kind of the good positives and negatives. I find a
yeah,
lot more positivity on YouTube.
yeah, for
Facebook
sure.
lately has been, again, like I said, the first week, great. I
Hmm.
love the comments. The people are happy, engaging. After that, I just can't stand Facebook's comments. They just
So
get
many
crazy.
trolls. Yeah,
Oh
there's a
yeah.
lot of just a lot of jerks out there.
Mhm.
It really, this whole through the pandemic has really shown us how many people out there just don't care about other people. And
Yeah, the things people say online, I'm like, I would never.
God,
I get that
no.
you're online, but I'm like, I wouldn't have even said that online. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even in my old Call of Duty video gaming days, I'm like, calm down,
Talking
bro. Like,
trash.
yeah, like who
Gear
says
down.
that? Yeah,
Yeah. It's like you would not say that to me in person. And some people might punch you if you do say that kind of thing to them in person. It's
right.
scary to think about. Um, yeah. So the pandemic has been obviously so weird. And how have you been throughout? I know you recently moved.
Hmm.
What's your new address?
Yeah, I'm in Orlando. I see. I lived just outside of Orlando for the longest time, but honestly, the schools in the county that I previously taught at were getting bad before the pandemic.
Mhm.
And now they're terrible. I mean, the people that run it just don't care,
Ugh.
and it's really bad. So I was looking at moving for a while, and
Mhm.
finally was able to move into I wouldn't say my area is better. I wouldn't say
Mhm.
like the area is better, but at least they value the school system a lot more here. So
That's good.
I'm in Orlando, so Orange County Public Schools, and they're
Mhm.
one of the few that kind of defied, DeSantis's mask mandate. The parents
Right.
are real involved here. Everything's still
Mhm.
safety first, and taking
Good.
the kids first, and so these smaller classes. I think that my kids are in much better classes now, and it's nothing
Mhm.
against the teachers. Teachers were trying their best, but they were in a very losing
Oh yeah.
situation.
It's
You know,
it's
yeah,
hard when the leadership, everything trickles down from the top, and it's hard if the leadership is they don't care. And it
yeah.
seems throughout the pandemic that people have just went from like caring about teachers and kids to just being like, put them back in schools. We're not going to take any safety precautions. Like,
Yeah.
can you
And
speak a little
and
bit about that and kind of what
and not only that, I mean, people forget it, doesn't it? Everybody says, well, the kids, their odds of dying are so small. But, where I lived and where I taught,
Mhm.
most of these children went home to multifamily households. It's a very
Right.
large Hispanic community,
Hmm.
and a lot of them come from kind of a long line of everybody lives together.
Yep.
Grandma's in the house, great
Tradition.
grandma's
Yep.
in the house,
Hmm.
and everybody's family. And so, we discounted those kind of moments where we just say, well, the kid won't die from it. No, but he's got
Right.
3 generations waiting at home for him
Yeah.
that, are very susceptible to this.
Hmm.
And, and the community transmission was very high, obviously, because
Hmm.
of stuff like that. So you really worry about the kids. And I just don't think that the county put those worries first. And even basic precautions weren't taken.
Right.
I understand if they say, our hands are tied because of masks, or
Hmm.
this or that, or the government that, but there was little things that they could have done that other counties were doing that they just completely ignored, and it just didn't make any sense.
Hmm. So can you talk a little bit? I know you're known obviously as the teacher comedian, and
Yeah.
you know, this is not breaking news that you're not a teacher anymore. Can you talk a little bit about how that's been and kind of what went into that? And I know you've talked about it on socials and stuff. But for people who haven't watched your stuff yet, can you kind of speak a little bit about kind of what
Yeah.
led you to get away from teaching?
Right. Yeah. I taught for 13 years, and was partway through my 14th year. I had just kind of a weird, like last year, where I
Hmm.
was teaching for the longest time at a school I loved. I left to do international touring with Mr. D. And so we
Hmm.
went to Australia for 2 weeks. Now I get to come back. It was like if you had taught 7 years, the union says you can leave for any personal reasons for up to a year, come back and
Right.
reassume your job. But the fine print doesn't say you get your job back. You get a job back.
Ah,
And so they put me into a school I was not happy in, and then bounced me around to another school that I was not happy in. And it was just one thing after the other of just ignoring, things that were basic health things for teachers, the students. There was a lot of, not really taking care of us. And the
right.
school I was at previously, I thought they were pretty good. I thought they handled it fairly
Hmm.
well. And if I had been there, I'd probably still be teaching, but I don't have any desire to run back to them,
Right.
and jump into that position again. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're hiring. Everybody's
Yeah.
hiring right now,
God, I bet. Yeah.
but I kind of enjoy the role that I've taken now, which is just doing comedy full
Hmm.
time, writing, doing a few sponsorships here and
Sure.
there, and then doing speaking. So I also do speaking.
Yeah, I
I
was going to
signed
ask you
with
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I signed with Premier Speakers Bureau before the pandemic, actually,
Hmm.
and go around to schools and to do and schools and conferences and things like that. And I
Sure.
do the one thing that I've always loathed was professional development. And I thought, they're like, "Hey, would you like to be a professional development speaker?" And I was like, I don't. I said, I don't really think in my head. I was like, I don't really think that's a
Yeah.
fun thing to do because I've never had positive experiences with it.
Right.
And then I was like, well, actually, that's probably the reason I should do it, is I've never
Yeah.
had a positive experience with
Yeah.
it. And so I changed it up and kind of did a very heavy comedy based, laughter in the classroom, bringing healing through laughter. And, because we talk about things like yoga and
Yep.
de-stressing through, why don't you read, or why don't you
Yep.
the
same old stuff.
But to be honest with you, yoga and meditation takes so much effort. It doesn't take effort, pulling up a funny video and laughing.
Yeah. Right.
And the funny thing is they have almost exactly the same de-stressing result.
Yeah.
Because you laughing is very discounted as a healing mechanism. And so I kind of talk about that. I talk about how laughter is just different, and it's something that we need to invite into our classroom and cultivate, and instead of shunning it. I think as a teacher, even myself as a teacher comedian, students would be like, are you a comedian? Why aren't you funny? And I'd be like, does this? And I wouldn't. I took everything so seriously.
Yeah.
And then when I and even the class clowns, I would kind of shut down. And then I was like, wait a minute, I need to embrace this a little bit more.
Right.
And I started to invite more comedy and laughter into my class, and it helps. It helped tremendously. It built relationships, and made me enjoy my job more. I wasn't such a stiff, So it was yeah. So I started talking about that and kind of going around to schools, opening that door, and they've loved it. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback that
that's awesome.
Way better than the typical professional development. So
yeah, because
it's kind of something I'm trying to explore.
Yeah.
But the good news is I everyone hates me in my life, and I say that yeah.
just lightly jump into that. Yeah, everyone hates me in my life.
Everyone hates me in my life. I'm not so I don't chase after the money. I've never chased after money. If you look at my Facebook, I have like 17 partnership proposals. I could be hawking Casper mattresses,
so many people do already.
I'd be making a fortune. I'd be making a small fortune, but I like the comedy aspect of it. I love the comedy. So it's so funny because I go do these speaking things and people think they're spending an absolute fortune for me to speak. And people don't even realize it's entirely affordable, well within the school's budgets. And that's at my request,
Yeah. So and that's good because a lot of schools would miss out if that wasn't the case. And I think, I being fair that way. Yeah.
Even through the pandemic, I was doing teacher Zoom shows for teachers, happy hours. And there were schools that reached out to me and they were like, how much is this? And I told them and they were like, really? They're like, that's it. And I was like, yeah. And some schools would even go, well, we can't even afford that. And so I would do them for free. I literally would do them for free.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to help
See how you like it.
And just do it for free. And it always worked out. I did some teacher Zoom. I did some Zoom comedy shows for students. Even there was nice, and some fundraisers and things like that. But it's but that's why people hate me is they're like, you could be rich, you could be rich. I get these offers. Like I was just pulled up yesterday, my TikTok, and they're like, you want $1,000 for promoting like plus size swimwear. I'm like, no, I don't.
What? What do I have to do with that?
But in another realm, I would stand up right now and show you I'm in swimwear, but I'm not.
We don't know what's happening from the waist down on Zoom, so it's all good.
if I'm ever like truly, I think probably when the kids get closer to going to college, you might see me hawking some.
Yeah, you're gonna need to, and we'll follow up with you then for sure. So I know throughout the pandemic, laughter obviously has been a big thing. Your videos have been a big thing for a lot of people, including myself and my wife. But another thing that has been big is having pets. And I know you recently got a new pet. Want to tell me about that little bugger?
Oh gosh, his name's Wink. He's got one eye. He's a Chihuahua. He was rescued. He lost the eye in the shelter.
Oh my God.
Got into a fight with another dog. And this little guy it's so weird to me because he has taken on such a love of me and it makes no sense. There's 3 children in the house and my girlfriend, Kate, and the dog wants nothing to do with them at all.
Whoa.
Anywhere I go, he follows me. He sits in my lap at all times. He just wants to, I go to sleep and he sleeps right next to my head, just like right on my face.
What a pal.
And yeah, I don't know why. And I joke, I say the reason is because I'm 6'6", and he knows that I have a size 15 shoe, and he wants me to be aware of where he is at all times.
Yeah,
because I could step on him and end it all, you know.
That shoe is bigger than he is. That's
right.
So funny.
Right. Yep.
So he's become your buddy. Are you the one that picked him up from the shelter then? Is that why? Or
that,
he just
no? That's the other weird thing is the second he came in, they picked him up. And the fact is, I moved in later. I didn't even move in. Like, they moved in a month ahead of time before me. So he had a month to bond with everybody. And the second I come, nope, he just wants nothing to do with them. Nothing.
That's great. So did you have pets growing up then? Or did you grow up around pets?
Always. Yeah. I had 2 basset hounds and when I was a kid. And then I have another dog. His name's Landon. You'll never see him really because he is old.
Just an old duffer.
He's about 18 now.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah. So he just kind of lays around and but he's happy. He goes outside into the sun. He lays in the sun, comes back in and lays in the house.
Nice.
And but I got him when he was 1 year old out of
college. Wow.
And when I just started college, and he's been there from the beginning. But he's a weird kind of dog. He's a Corgador. He's a Labrador Corgi mix.
Whoa.
Yeah,
we had a corgi when I was a kid. I don't know if I've ever seen a Corgador before.
He looks like a lab with the size of a corgi, the corgi legs.
It's like the stubby legs.
Yep, short stubby leg lab. Everybody sees him and they're like, "What is that?
What is that thing?"
But they also go, "He's adorable."
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's still, the funny thing is he looks like a lab. He has the short stubby legs, so people think that he's a puppy. And they'll go up and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, what a cool puppy!" And I'm like, he's 18." And they're like, "What?" They're like Benjamin Button.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything, and like is just super chill. And it's like he can't possibly be a puppy if he's.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I think he's a puppy, but he's so small.
Oh, that's
cute.
Cool. So, we talked a little bit about you having pets as a kid. What was your childhood in general like? Like, were you into comedy back then? Did you always kind of know what you want to do, whether it be teacher or comedian or both?
Man. So when I first started getting into comedy, was a teacher in 9th grade. She let me kind of branch out and start writing scripts. As weird as that was, we get to present stuff in front of class, and I hated presenting facts. I like making it funny, and so I started. I did a literally Austin Powers sketch.
Of course, why not? It was the 90s.
Right. And then I remember I did an entire Scarlet Letter sketch as the ladies' man offering a fish sandwich.
Yes. Leon Phelps.
Yes. And so, I mean, I started like kind of creatively exploring sketches when I was younger, and she cultivated it. And then I got into stand-up through I had a Best Buy credit card, which you never give anybody. Anybody. That was my first credit card, and I remember I would go there like it was a gift card, and I'd be like, "Oh, sweet, I have $500 to spend."
Oh, dear God!
And so I started just buying random albums. I'd buy like the Elton John Greatest Hits, Pink Floyd albums, and I dabbled in comedy and bought Rodney Dangerfield, bought Dave Attell, bought. Old Bill Cosby, Chris Rock. And so I just started listening to comedy and kind of fell in love with it. And I think the passion for doing stand-up came from Dave Attell. I started reciting his stuff to my friends, and they would laugh so hard when I recited the stuff. And I was like, man, how cool would that be if it was my joke, and I was reciting it. Like, that's a cool feeling to have people laugh at something you thought of. So yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it. It came from all sources.
So you recently shaved your beard and then proceeded to immediately grow it right back. Was there like a backlash online? What happened with that?
This beard is honestly the result of like a day and a half of not shaving. I don't know why. Jeez. But it grows back quick. So yeah, I've shaved it. I've never cared about facial hair at all. People make a big deal out of it. I've had mustaches. I've had goatees. I used to do the pirate.
Yep, for sure.
Johnny Depp, half
legendary.
mustache. Jonathan Davis, shaved in the middle.
Popcorn.
literally like
That's awesome.
everything. I've done the
Fu
chin
Manchu.
strap and
Yeah.
yep.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
even did a teacher live Zoom show on Facebook. And if you can ever find it,
Mhm.
it's deep in the
Yeah.
archives, but it's there. And at the end, I did a sketch as Joe Exotic. And
Oh,
so
nice.
I live shaved my beard to be Joe Exotic's
Oh my
kind of
God.
handlebars, and it
Yeah.
looked great. It
Oh
really
my
looked
God,
good.
that's
But
amazing.
yeah, but I've never cared. So
Sure.
it's just this is anytime I have a beard, it's just I'm lazy.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So you listed a lot of styles in there, but I didn't hear you list the monkey tail. Is that kind of on the next on the list then when you do decide to do some artwork on your face, or it just
No, I
wraps
don't.
around and
Never tried that. I did get really. I'm a big System of a Down fan, and for a
yeah.
while I tried to get the like where it would be so far down I could like
Yep.
twist it and have the guitarist from System of a Down look, but it never grew fast enough for me.
Oh, sure.
I just looked funny. It was
It
all.
it'd be hard. There's that whole level of beard that would just be an awkward length for a while till it gets to that point. It
Right.
kind of looks goofy. So I can understand that.
My beard doesn't grow down. It just grows thicker. It just
Oh,
goes really thick.
yeah,
Like
just real
I have
dense.
a very Santa Claus beard, and it doesn't have that kind of pliability. It's
Sure.
just very, very thick. Yeah.
So the next stage of your career will be obviously a
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So that
grades
makes
are
sense.
coming in already.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's weird how that happens, man. Like I can't grow much facial hair, but when I do, it's like I'm seeing grays in there. It's like, when did that start? You know,
I have
like,
no idea. And it was facial hair for a while. Now it's hair.
just
So
hair.
like
Yeah,
that.
me too. Like the sides are, yeah, it's a whole
Yep.
thing.
Like
I'm
when
wearing
I
a
get a
hat.
haircut, I'm looking at the smock and I'm like, oh no. Like
You're like, what are those?
Yeah, if the first great clips that ever has a gray smock like to
Oh,
put
yeah.
over me
Yep.
and disguise my gray hair, I'm going there for the rest of my
Just
life, just so I
kind
don't
of
feel old.
metallic silver looking or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're starting a tour, or you have started the tour. It's December 1st is the first date. That's like tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I got a few shows coming up. Tomorrow's with Jim Brewer over in Side Splitters Tampa. But I've got a few good shows. I just booked a gig in Chicago at the
Nice.
Zanies there in Rosemont.
Awesome.
So, but there is a bigger tour on the way, and I can't divulge the info because I'm going over it on Thursday
right now.
But let's just say there is a big partnership with myself and board teachers that's in the works.
Oh, nice.
It's going to include some other potential teacher comics and
awesome.
something big. We're working on it. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago, another meeting last week, and final meeting Thursday to kind of go over everything.
Well, hopefully, I live in Fargo, North Dakota. I'm the closest I am is to Minneapolis, so hopefully, maybe they'll come up towards my flat, cold tundra one of these days. One of these times.
I was actually. Do you know who Ralphie May is?
Oh yeah,
comedian. Yeah.
Yep.
So I used to do a lot of shows with him. And
yeah,
it
I
was
saw that.
Funny. Because he was down in Florida and doing shows here, and I went and visited him, and we were talking and everything, and then he left, and he was going touring all over, and he video chatted me one time. And he goes, "Hey man, Devin, you gotta see this, man," and he goes, "Look what's happening," and in his tour bus. He woke up and he was traveling through Fargo, North Dakota.
Yeah.
And he had a bottle of water that was sitting on his desk and it was frozen in the tour bus. And
of course it was.
Yeah. He's like, he said, "This is a sign that you don't stop." you just keep on going.
Yeah, man.
So once the bottle's thawed, you're good.
You're good. Well, he did come to Fargo. Yes. He played the
Yep.
Fargo Theater. I actually worked for the promoter as a graphic designer in those days.
Really?
So I designed the poster, for that show. So kind of a funny little small world there. Yeah, I was really sad when we lost him, but
yeah, he did video chat.
He's a legend.
In your area.
That's so cool.
It was funny to see that. And again, I didn't even think that was possible because I was like, how cold must it be in the
in the bus too? Like if it was right by the window, that's going to be cold, but cold enough to freeze is pretty insane. Yeah, we get pretty frigid up here, but the Fargo Theater, man, that's an awesome venue. It's built in the 1920s, restored it in the early 2000s. So if you ever get up here, man, Fargo Theater is about an 850 cap. So
yeah, we're working on pretty much every state. So
that's awesome. Yeah, very cool. We'll stay tuned then.
Sounds good.
So got a few music questions here for you, since we are
Sure.
mostly a music comedy, pop culture podcast. What was the last concert you went to? And when
Last
was it?
concert I went to. Oh man. So I'm trying to think if I went to anything post-pandemic. Okay, so I guess it was not. It was pre-pandemic, and I saw the greatest concert of my entire life, and it was a bucket list for me. I saw in Sydney, Australia. I saw Liam Gallagher, and
Whoa,
so I'm a
dude.
big Oasis fan.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And so I got
Love
to
them.
sit like I was literally 3 people back and watch Liam, rip through all the Oasis
Oh yeah,
material. He
crushing.
sounded fantastic,
Awesome.
and so as a big Oasis fan to see him, and plus it was cool because Sydney, like
Yeah.
it's a different vibe they had there,
Mhm.
especially an appreciation for him, because they love
Right.
British
Oh
rock
my
and
God.
pop music
For sure.
so he's got a celebrity here, but I think it was definitely way better to see it.
Yeah, a different level. Yeah, I saw him open for the Who up in Vancouver a few years ago, and he blew everyone away, man. It makes me so mad that Oasis can't get back together. Like
maybe
make it happen. Who knows?
Mm.
What was the last song you stayed in your car to finish listening to, or do you do that?
I would say, and this is another weird one. This is kind of off the wall, but there's a band that if you're into rock music, you just are really not doing yourself a service if you don't listen to the Butterfly Effect. They're a band from Australia.
Wow. Okay.
They have 4 or 5 albums out. They got a new album coming out. And they are masters at rock music. They're very good. And they have a song called World on Fire that is like probably like 7 minutes long.
Okay.
And it goes through the highs and lows, lots of feeling emotion in the song, and crazy, they go from saxophone to guitar to drum solos, and they're really good. Yeah. And
check them out.
Singer's voice is fantastic. They're super huge over there. They will sell out any theater in Australia by far.
Wow.
They headline all the festivals. You never heard of them here.
Never heard of them.
Why, but they're so good. Yep.
Wow. I will definitely check them out.
New song, and that was what I was trying to say. They had a new song, and I was listening to it in the car, and I had to keep it on.
Yeah, you have to. So you heard it on like Sirius or something like that?
No, I was listening to it just on Spotify. I was at a red light, pulled up my phone, and they were like, "New song out." I was like,
"Nice."
Yeah,
you gotta listen to the whole thing, man. If it's new, especially, check it out.
Of course.
So on that, kind of along that same lines, what song always makes you cry?
So it's not the song, it's the rendition. There's a guy named Josh Weathers that did a live version, and you can only find it on YouTube of I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
Boy. Yep.
So it's a good song. I Always Love You, but this song he dedicates to his mom and puts the most emotion and power in that performance that is just undeniably good. And every time I've ever watched it, I tear up a little bit. It's like one of those things that, and it's not even like the sadness or emotion behind it. It's honestly just the, oh my gosh, like it's one of those like, humans are incredible kind of moments where you're like, wow, that dude is nailing it.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna listen to that one too, man. I'm gonna have to go back and make a list of things to check out.
Right.
So what have you been watching? I know a lot of us, we really didn't leave the couch much during, the thick of the pandemic. We're obviously still in it, of course, but what kind of shows were you watching during that?
I just finished and caught up to Ozark. So Ozark, I'm a big fan. Yeah. Ozark, a big fan of. I want to watch the new Steve Martin Short murder thing on Hulu. Dude, it's great.
You will love it. Like, yeah, those guys are amazing. Martin Short doesn't even need to talk, and I'm laughing my head off. Like,
yeah,
and Steve too. Obviously,
I'm into that. And then tomorrow, if I don't know when this podcast will be out, but December 1st, the new Lost in Space comes out on Netflix, and I love the Lost in Space series.
Yes, classic.
Yeah, I watched the original, the OG Lost in Space all the time, and then when the new series came out, I fell in love with it. Yeah, I got to catch up on Lock and Key. I watched that with the kids. That was pretty good. I liked it.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, and there's I don't know. I just kind of bounce around.
Yeah. whatever's hot.
It's
I mean,
Christmas time too, so a lot of Christmas movies.
lots of Christmas stuff for sure. So I'm sure you watched Tiger King back 5 years ago, a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Yep,
That
definitely.
season 2 is out. Have you checked that out yet? You started that one?
I haven't. So I've got so much. I need to check it out because I've got
Right.
so much ties into that. So the jet ski guy, he
Mhm.
actually came and opened for me in Comedy Key West, and he was my
Really?
opener. He was my opener that night.
Wow.
We had a big conversation, and he was heading up to a place called the Sausage Castle. Which,
Sure.
if you've never heard of the Sausage
Wow.
Castle, it's kind
I
of
have not.
difficult. It's something to look into. It's basically like if you're an adult, it's basically like your Chuck E. Cheese. And
Wow.
it's
I'm
this
listening.
guy, this guy Mike Busey built this just like everything you could ever want. When you walk in there, there's
What?
pinball machines and
Love it.
video games and nacho bar and
Whoa.
unlimited open vending machines everywhere
Okay.
and
What?
mini putt golf. He has the wrestling ring that Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant in, the actual ring.
Because
He
why
has
wouldn't you? Right.
Right. And he built an entire theme park. He has all the like tilt-a-whirls and everything in his front yard.
What?
And so anyways, that's where the Tiger King 2 starts off, is Mike Busey's house.
Okay.
And so I've been there a million times. I know all those guys. Mike is like a really good friend of mine. And Mike
Sure.
books me. I've done comedy out there a bunch.
Okay.
They do stand-up comedy for their like members weekends and stuff.
Wow.
So I gotta watch it because literally I've worked with or know like all the people in it now. So it's kind of
It's like
kind of cool.
you're just catching up with some old friends.
Yeah.
I need
But
I need to get to
I-
that sausage place. Sausage,
oh
what's it called? Sausage Castle?
yeah. So it's
Wow.
incredible. I mean, it really
Sounds amazing.
but they do some very questionable things. They've
Of
made
course.
the news quite a bit,
Yeah.
but
I will look into that.
yeah, but man, is it fun. It's just a place to go be yourself. And
Yeah.
he's got celebrities all the time out there. Post
Of
Malone
course.
would be out there performing.
Oh wow.
And
Damn.
he has a lot of really big clout. The guy's really
Sure.
awesome.
Yeah, he
Nice
sounds
guy,
like
too.
a big kid at heart, which is really cool. I like
Absolutely.
people like that.
Yep.
Very good. So we talked about what you've been watching. What are your favorite 80s movies? I mean, where do we start?
I got to go back to the Futures, obviously.
Of course.
It's huge.
Duh. Yep.
And then I don't know. I mean, I kind of, my son's into Ghostbusters, so I started watching the old OG
Yep.
Ghostbusters.
Of course.
Again. Those are great.
Yep.
There's
Have you seen the new Ghostbusters yet? Afterlife?
No. My kids have, and I have
Sure.
not. So I'm angry about that.
Yeah,
But,
of course. You should have seen it with them, but they're kids. So
well, the worst part was when they came in and they were like, "We watched the Ghostbusters new movie." I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
no.
wow." I said, "How was it?" They said, "Well, my son goes, well, the original Ghostbusters were in it." And I was like, "Wow, that's cool." And he goes,
Yeah.
"But they're old." And I was like,
that happens. God. You ruined it.
Great,
People get older, kids.
Yeah. But I don't know. I like a lot of 80s movies.
Sure.
I think my favorite one, if I were to dabble into it, is actually Back to School with Rodney
Oh
Dangerfield.
God. Yeah.
That is one of my
A
all-time
classic.
favorite 80s movies, and I love Rodney and
Yeah.
Sam Kinison making an
Legends.
appearance in it. It's
Yep.
just so much awesomeness in that movie.
Yeah. I definitely need to go back and watch that again because it's actually been too long since I've seen it.
So underrated, and not only
Yep.
that, it's when you watch it, it's got so many hidden jokes.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
as I used
I
to
love
watch
that.
when I was younger, and now I'm an
Yeah.
adult, and I every time I watch it, I see another one, another joke that I'm like, oh man, I missed that. It was great.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's hats off to the writers of movies like that, where you can still be getting nuggets 35 years later,
Yeah, absolutely.
new stuff. That's cool. So you feel like doing the Marcel Proust questionnaire, the rapid fire
absolutely.
questionnaire? Let's do it. What's your idea of perfect happiness?
I don't know why, but golf came to my mind.
Yeah.
I like being on the golf course. I like
Sure.
seeing nature. It's more nature than anything. Just
Right.
getting out,
Yeah.
fresh
It's
air, fresh
a few
sun.
hours outside in nature. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. But playing good golf, I guess, would be the ultimate.
Sure.
Because sometimes I go play golf and I'm not happy at all.
Yeah, right. Just depends on the day.
Right.
Since see me, I'm not a golfer, so I just like going out. I just do it to go outside with my friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your greatest fear?
I don't know. I think initially I would say death, but it's something that we can't really avoid. As weird as it is, Steve-O,
Yeah.
kind of helped me come to terms with that.
Wow.
I saw a recent thing about Steve-O, and he's like, why? He's like, none of us are avoiding it. We're
Yeah.
all hitting it.
Yeah.
And he's like, why be afraid of something that literally none of us can get away from?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's true. So I don't know. Maybe biggest fear is seeing my kids take like a wrong turn in life, you know, and
Yeah.
not being able to correct it. I see some some parents online that have kids that are going through some stuff and they're pretty helpless.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that feeling.
No. How old are your kids?
5 and 6. And,
Okay,
and,
so
and I have
they got a ways to go.
This she's 8, so yeah, it's definitely.
The troubled teens are coming, but not for a while.
Right.
What is the trait you most deplore in yourself? It's kind of a downer of a question, but
focus. I don't get as focused as I should. I probably definitely I think would benefit from some sort of medicine.
Sure.
But I'm so weird about that stuff, man.
Yeah.
I just don't like pills of any
Yeah.
headaches. I'm like, just take some water. I'm not like thinking there's bad stuff in it.
Sure.
I just don't like them. I don't.
Yeah.
And so I just fear that I would get onto something and feel really good, but I probably, like, my mind thinks of 100 things at one time, and sometimes it's pretty hard to sit and focus.
Yeah.
So that is probably my biggest trait.
Sure. I'm the same way, and I'm not on any meds for that either, but I have a hard time focusing as well. The struggle is real, man.
It makes me so mad. I mean, I had an ex-student who I knew had a lot of traits that I had, and she posted on Instagram the other day that she got put on something. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
But she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, my focus, my calmness, my demeanor all changed. I feel great.
Dang.
And I'm like, don't tell me that.
Just try it, man.
Right,
just do it.
Right. Yeah.
What's the trait you most deplore in other people?
Selfishness, I'd say. There's a lot of selfish people, you know, that aren't taking into account all of us.
Agreed.
A lot of me's, and you know, it's an interesting part of Florida where I live, where you have the exceedingly very, very wealthy, and then you have the just down the street, the very poor. And you have, you know, the very right, the very left, and there's
extremes.
Florida is not by any means one thing cut and dry.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of areas that are, and there a lot of like-minded people live together. Not here. And so you see a lot of, you know, true colors shining through.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, you're in a checkout line and there's a Jewish rabbi and you know, a guy very clearly, you know, Muslim, and there's you, and there's a wealthy guy and a redneck, and you start to see who's looking after who. And it seems to me they're all looking after each other. Like, I mean, looking after themselves.
Right.
Is what I'm seeing more and more of.
Oh, wow.
And that's probably the trait I don't like.
Yeah, agreed. Which living person do you most admire?
Living person. Do I most admire? I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of. That's a pretty heavy one.
Yeah, it is. So, pressure. It's a lot of pressure in that question.
Yeah, because when I initially think of celebrities, and then I'm like, maybe not a celebrity, but there are celebrities that I do admire. There's some good people out there. I'm trying to think of the nice people, like good hearted people that do a lot for, you know, charities and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, I've got some friends that I initially think of. There's a radio host out of Tampa that I look up to. His name's Mike Calta, and I don't think he knows that, but you know, I see him.
He does now.
He does a lot of great stuff for the community. Seems, you know, he's a good personality, nice guy, and you know, he's helped me out in times that I needed help. Nice. And really asked for nothing in return, just being a nice guy. And so, you know, I see positive traits there in the sense that I think that guy's probably a guy that I look up to, that I would like to, you know, he's got a pretty good celebrity, but he doesn't abuse it. And I think that's something that's admirable.
That's cool. Well, shout out to him, Mike. Shout out to you, Mike. I know you're not getting the Casper mattress money or the plus size lingerie money quite yet, but what's your greatest extravagance?
My greatest extravagance, well, right now probably Disney annual passes. That's
wow.
probably the big one.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
but it didn't used to be the big one. Lately, it's got much more expensive.
Yes.
Um, I would say either the Disney annual passes or just dining. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but like when I go out to eat, some people eat at like Chili's, some people eat
Yeah.
Applebee's. I like want a reservation. I want a
Sure.
nice, and
Yep.
it stems from I have a very very wealthy, very nice friend who I've and his name's Tom. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I've known him for years. I've never ever abused his wealth. He's a multimillionaire.
Sure.
But as long as we've been friends, he always wants to eat out at nice places. And once I people don't realize, like,
Yeah.
you don't realize how good the food is. Like,
Right.
we started eating out at restaurants that were like 5-star and were very expensive.
Yeah.
And he would pay for it, and I would eat, and I would be just like, wow,
Yeah.
this whole time I've been eating Chili's triple dippers. This was the life.
Which are good in their
And
own
it's
right.
not.
But
Yeah, but so I started like going, you know what, if I'm gonna eat out, we're not gonna do Chili's every night, we're not gonna do
Right.
crazy stuff, we're gonna do once a week or like once every other week, or when we
Sure.
can afford it, a nice restaurant. And so I've
Treat
started
yourself.
to kind of splurge on like one nice, it's
Yeah.
a treat yourself. We
Mhm.
have a nice reservation somewhere, make an evening of it, and I think that's way better than any movie, or it's an
Yeah.
experience. You talk to
Yeah,
somebody
for
and
sure.
enjoy yourself, and
It's a good approach to, being wise with your money that way, and waiting a little while instead of getting it every night, like you said, just treating
some
yourself.
people, I don't drink or anything, so
Sure.
I'm not blowing money on alcohol each
Right.
day or night, or cigarettes. It's
Mhm.
money.
It's the
saved up.
cocaine that really will
Yeah,
get you. Yeah.
it's true. But like every 2 weeks, I take the money I've saved and do a nice
Sure.
restaurant.
Yeah, that's great. And your family and whoever you're taking with
Mhm.
appreciates that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, the kids don't appreciate it as much as they
No.
should.
Yeah.
They ate at a
Maybe take
Disney
them to
buffet.
Chili's.
Yeah, they ate at a Disney buffet that was like $35 each
Oh my
for them.
God.
And then of course they literally ate like the
chicken
dinner
strips.
rolls.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was it. And, great.
Wow. So with everything going on, what is your current state of mind?
Happy but anxious, uncertain.
Same.
Like I said, I go to these I do a lot of writing, do a lot of producing of my own content, but you never
Mhm.
know. You never know,
Never know.
when these videos aren't going to keep going, or
Right.
I book comedy gigs, and you're like, well, when the comedy gigs dry up or another
Right.
outbreak happens, and then you're back to square one.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of uncertainty. I'd like
Sure.
to get out of the uncertainty, but I think that's just my life.
Yeah.
Just
Life
gotta
of a
live in
comedian
it.
too, right?
Yeah, it's always, when I first started doing comedy, everybody said it's feast or famine, and it really
Mhm.
was. Some months
For
I'm
sure.
booked solid. October was endless shows.
Wow.
November I had like 6, so it just
Mhm.
depends.
Just kind of fluctuates.
Yep.
It's part of the scary part, but also part of the good part in the busy months.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Overrated virtue. I would say I don't consider it overrated, but I could say that I don't know how to say, maybe it is overrated, but people fighting for other people's equality online sometimes, I think,
Mhm.
is masked in them fighting for their own championing of a
Yep.
cause, their own hero. They're
Mhm.
literally fighting for themselves. They're not fighting
Right.
for other people.
No.
So I think that's kind of overrated, in the sense that a lot of these online heroes that post about stuff and retweet and things like that, there's a lot of people that champion causes that don't actually put in the work to help
Right.
the cause. And so I would say that, you see these celebrities that are like, get this person out of jail, or do
Yes.
this or do that, and they just are retweeting it. They're not making the phone
Yeah.
calls to,
No.
they're not paying for the lawyers. They're not trying to, help out. I've been a donor for quite some time, probably about 3 years, to the grassroots law campaign.
Oh, nice.
And so that's, I put my money there, and I keep up with what they're doing.
Mhm.
And I comment on things and try to, steer policy and help.
Right.
And
you're invested in it.
Yep. And so that's kind of but I don't sit online and go and try to find people that I think are discriminating against other
Sure.
people and go after them. I just go, okay, well, here's a better way that I can do it, and So I think that probably virtue signaling is kind of the more overrated thing. You see a lot of that.
Oh, definitely. Agreed. So on what occasion do you lie?
On stage. Yeah,
Making up
people,
stories.
yeah, people, well, sometimes, but people sometimes, most of my stuff is true,
Right.
but sometimes I embellish a little bit of it and people think that that's not fair, that
Sure.
but I don't know,
Everyone
on
embellishes
stage,
though.
yeah, you got to make it a little funnier than the actual situation than it is.
Mhm.
And so I would definitely say on stage is when I
Sure.
lie the most.
We talked about your facial hair before. Unrelated, what do you dislike most about your appearance?
I don't know. Everything when you're in a hotel light. Do you ever notice that?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know why, but I feel like I'm in
Hollywood.
shape. I'm good, and then I go to a hotel and turn on the light in the bathroom, and I'm like, "What is that?" And it's
Who am
got to
I?
be the biggest mirror ever that stares at you
Yep.
as you get in the
The
shower
whole
and
wall
you're
is
out
the
of the
mirror.
shower, and it's terrible. So I don't know.
Your hotel
Overall,
body is that's what you dislike most?
yeah, I guess. But overall physical appearance, I don't. I sometimes I like being tall. Sometimes I wish I weren't as
Mhm.
tall. But being 6'6" is fun. But sometimes it's like, man, I'm a giant.
You're a giant.
Like when I walk around and people are looking at me like, oh my gosh, the guy's
The
huge.
floor is shaking. This guy's a
Yeah.
giant.
Right.
Well, it's weird because I only know you virtually, and I didn't, I can't tell you're a tall man with size 15 shoes, but
Yeah.
so you present as a normal sized man online. So
What's worse is on stage.
oh
On
God.
stage,
Yeah.
I'm not linky. Like I look very proportionate and
Sure.
normal.
Yeah.
And so I get on stage and I'm like, yeah, I'm 6'6". Nobody believes me.
I would not believe
Nobody.
it. I
And
wouldn't.
and I'm like, and
Still don't.
the number one comment after the shows is, "Oh my God, he is tall." I thought he was
Yeah.
lying. They were like, "I thought that was an act." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a hard one to fake."
Acting tall. How do you,
Right.
how do I act tall? I want to do that. I'm 5'10",
Yeah, but
It's funny.
So that's an odd observation, but it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. You hide your height well, you could
Yep.
say.
Mhm.
Which living person do you most despise? I don't want you to like get in trouble with anybody, but
Living person do I most despise? I don't know. There's some terrible people out there.
oh yeah.
I don't like people that are championing. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of politicians I don't like.
Oh yeah.
I think celebrity wise and in the real world, I don't know. And he's not really. I guess he's more political now. But Roger
Mhm.
Stone has always rubbed me
Oh
really
God.
wrong. Guys,
Yeah.
just because I watched his testimony and the guy
Mhm.
was very abrasive and just cocky and
Oh
just
my gosh.
he just like he owns the world.
Yep.
And I've never appreciated that. But
Yeah. He's
I
like a
don't know.
comic book villain, basically.
Yeah. And Bezos, I
Mhm.
don't think he's a bad person necessarily, but
Right.
I think he's much more nefarious than people think.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
think we watch him and we go, yeah, but look how many jobs and look at this and look
Yeah.
at that. But I also think there are some very like backdoor discussions
Of
that
course.
we would all go, what? He said,
Yeah.
what? I think there's something a little bit more there.
Yeah. There's a reason why he's in the position he's in. He
Right.
crawls over people to get to the top, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that,
And Mackenzie Scott, she seems
Yeah.
like a very nice person, and I think there's a reason why she left him.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I definitely think there's she sees something traits that have a rise there too.
For sure. Well, that transitions nicely into my next two questions. What quality do you most like in a man?
I would say intelligent discussion. So my friend Tom, like I said,
Mhm.
very rich man. And a lot of people are like, you hang out with him because he's got money. I'm like, I pay
Right.
for my stuff. I'm not, but he's like in his late 50s and I'm I guess mid 30s now. So
Mhm.
it's a very weird thing. People think he's my dad, but we met at a comedy writing. Yeah, we met at a comedy writing class, and we took a
Oh,
liking
wow.
to comedy. But he's a very intelligent person. The guy made a lot of money on investments and stuff like that, but he's very worldly. So when we go golfing, we have intelligent conversation about what's going on in the world. And he's very into, everything, current events, and kind of knows it all. So I like intelligent conversation is a good thing to have. Yeah.
Sounds like a great dude. Someone that would be easy to be friends with, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Very good. What's the quality you most like in a woman?
Probably laugh at my jokes.
Yeah, I mean that's number one, right?
Yeah, and I know, and I think that also has to do with intelligence. So I would say intelligence there too, not just intelligent conversation, but being able to comprehend. I've dated women in the past that didn't laugh at my jokes, but I don't really care if you laugh at my jokes or not. But sometimes it was just cerebral. It was like, they don't really understand it. They don't get, they don't follow. They don't understand that. They don't understand this. And it's not a negative reflection on them. It's just like, okay, well, I just like having a smart person around. Yeah. Yeah.
It helps for sure with conversation.
Absolutely.
And those ones got, moved to the side probably rather quickly for good reason.
Yeah. Or you just have 2 kids with them and end up divorced. And
or that option. There's always that.
That's true too. Yeah.
So you talk for a living. What are some words or phrases that you overuse that you know of, at least?
Literally. I use literally a lot.
Okay.
Because I don't think people understand sometimes that I'm not joking. I have to say literally.
Sure.
And
that makes sense though.
And I want to make a point. So I say literally quite a bit.
And you feel like you have to, because people don't know what you're saying. Yeah.
And also I think they're not comprehending sometimes the seriousness. Sometimes you just got to throw the word literally in there to go, no, seriously, literally this is happening. And,
so it's not like you're a 22-year-old girl that uses it in every sentence. Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
I do wish I was British though, because literally
sounds
so much better.
So cool.
Yeah. I wish I am British actually. My grandparents, my grandmother's British, but I just didn't
fancy.
If you go over, morning tea, Wimbledon, and British accents are there, but not to me for some reason.
I mean, you could always adapt it. I mean, if things get stale online with your comedy stuff, you could always adapt it and see what happens.
Absolutely.
So who is the greatest love of your life?
I mean, I love my children for sure. Like there's so much passion there. And in terms of, it's one of those stupid things that I always said, this is dumb. You're lying. I had friends that were like, when you have a kid, it's just a different level of love. Right. And I was like,
I haven't loved until I had kids.
Right. And then you have kids and you're like, oh my gosh, there it is. You're right.
Those jerks were
another being that you just would give anything for. And so I think that's kind of where where my focus lies, is typically my children.
That's a good answer. When and where were you happiest, or are you happiest?
I know the exact moment of this. It's weird that this is it, but I just started doing comedy and found comedy to be just a crazy good passion. So I understood comedy was awesome. And so having found like a future endeavor that I knew I was passionate about, I remember I went, I was laying on my sofa, window open, dog at my side, cool breeze coming in, listening to Eddie Vedder ukulele songs.
Nice.
And just listening to Eddie Vedder sing, feeling the breeze, knowing that I was into comedy and I had a direction in my life. That was like probably the happiest I'll ever be.
Wow.
Like that moment, but I remember it distinctly.
Yeah. What a moment.
That's an interesting question, but that's a vivid one for me.
That's a really good answer. How long ago was that?
That was about 8-9 years ago, right when ukulele songs came out.
Oh yeah,
that ruined my relationship, by the way, that ukulele songs.
No.
I was with a girl. She was very nice. I liked her a lot, but she and I was into comedy and had a passion for comedy. And the more I listened to Eddie Vedder, it was kind of like he just has this like thing in his voice where he just says, go for it. And and so I knew the direction I wanted to go, and she didn't have the same vision or idea. She didn't think I could be a good comic. Jokes on her.
Jokes on her, literally. Wait.
Yep. So
did I use that right? Who knows?
Yeah. Literally.
Literally.
but yeah, that was kind of the downslide, but it worked out in the end for
Yeah.
sure.
Eddie, you and Eddie were right. So that's good.
Yep. Absolutely.
So you've obviously got a lot of talents. What is another talent that you would like to have?
I have a drum kit next to me, and I'm very into drums.
Awesome.
But I'm good. I'm great, but I'm not. And I know that sounds weird.
Okay.
Like I can hit.
That's the name of your next book.
Yeah.
Good. I'm great. I'm not.
But I'm not.
The Devin Siebold story.
Like I can play some crazy songs. I can do. I mean, and what's weird is when I got Rock Band. I know everybody had Rock Band. I was one of those that could play expert on everything, like expert on the drums. I destroyed it. And so, and it's weird, but I sit here and I can listen to a song and I can play it perfectly on the drum set.
Wow.
However, when I start to just play it without listening to the song, I'm not good. I'm not. I can't, like, on my own with no backing music,
no accompaniment. Yeah.
I don't keep the same rhythm.
Wow.
And so I've got to figure that out.
Get a metronome in your headphones or something.
Yes, I would like to get better at that.
To click track. Yep. You'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, working on it. That's why I've got the drum kit set up next
to
me eventually.
So this might tie into this next question. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
One thing about myself, I would say, goodness.
Besides perfect timekeeping, drumming.
I would like to be in a different city, but bigger, like New York or LA, because I feel like my comedy, like the writing and stuff that I have, it would put me, like, I've seen friends of mine that have opened for me, and I know I'm a better comedian, and then they go to the big city and they get these massive opportunities.
Bastards.
So I would like to do that. I'm not going to move there. I'm enjoying where I'm at. But,
sure.
You know, in my head, I go, that's probably the one thing I would do differently.
Well, you know, a lot of the LA comedians have kind of been, you know, moving to Austin, Texas now. And I don't know how I feel about that. Just like they're kind of starting their own little comedy cult there.
Yeah, not even the LA comedians, New York comedians.
New York too. Yeah.
Yeah, Creek in the Cave. I performed at.
Oh, sure.
That was a big thing over in Brooklyn. Or Queens, I forget. But anyways, they moved their entire operation over to Austin. They have new Creek in the Cave. That's where Rogan performs and stuff. So.
Right. He'll have his own compound there. He probably already does in no time.
Probably does.
Let's see. What would you consider your greatest achievement so far?
Goodness. Aside from, having kids and being a dad with custody, that's a weird one.
Sure.
I would say
it's a rarity.
Yeah, it is. I would say my greatest achievement so far was probably, I don't know. I really enjoyed, like you mentioned, Peter Cetera. I liked opening for Peter Cetera.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Moment.
Yeah.
And
legend.
I would say Peter Cetera, or a big one is I got to open for Ralphie May and Bert Kreischer.
Wow.
And when I opened for them on a cruise, it was a game changer. It was a really big moment.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Heavy hitters. So if you were to die and come back as a person or thing, what would it be?
Probably a turtle. These turtles live forever. Like I would love to be like a 200-year-old turtle, just kind of hanging out,
just chilling.
Fun.
Yeah. Hoping people save you if you get stuck somewhere.
Right.
So you kind of talked about already. Where would you most like to live?
Most like to live. I love wilderness and the woods and stuff. Like I hate to mention my buddy Tom again, but he's got a cabin up in Pennsylvania that I visit there. It's amazing. It's so quiet, so calm, serene, right on the water, beautiful lake. And he's got his own conservation area that and so he can hike it and go check out the woods and see everything. And it's that kind of lifestyle is pretty enjoy. I don't know that I could do it for forever though. That's the one thing. It's like you think, oh wow, this is so nice, but then you also think every day. Like
it might be nice because it's like a break from the norm too.
Right.
Like, that's why vacations are so great.
Yeah. So my end goal actually is Golden Oak, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Golden Oak, but it's the only subdivision on Magic Kingdom property.
Oh,
it's about 15-20 million to get in there.
Sure.
So
So
there's only
Casper
a few
mattresses.
houses.
Who else?
Yeah, I know, right? So, but the distinction is it's so close to Magic Kingdom. It's the only subdivision that actually has their own bus to the parks.
What?
So
Wow.
if you want to go to Magic Kingdom, you
Yeah.
hop on the Golden Oak bus. And
Something to shoot for.
that's the everybody who knows Disney lure knows of Golden Oak, because that's all of our end goals.
Sure. And as it should be. It sounds incredible.
Of course. Yeah.
We got like 10 more here. What is your most treasured possession?
Treasure possession. Man, I don't know. It used to be a basketball signed by the Dallas Mavericks from 1996.
I mean,
that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Cool.
Now I have a poster, Michael Jordan signed poster that I got. So
oh, damn.
maybe
Nice.
Yeah.
Legend, the GOAT. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery? That's a weird one.
Yeah, I would say just in general regret of missing opportunities. I kind of like to live life to the fullest in that extent. I don't think I'll be on my deathbed wishing I had done things differently. I kind of just go for it. So yeah, I think that would probably be pretty brutal.
And it's worked for you thus far, just going for it. So kudos. So what is your favorite occupation? Obviously we know you as a comedian and a teacher. What was something before that or now, or what's your favorite?
I would always think I want to try acting, but I got some friends that are in acting, and it's pretty cool to see what they go through. My buddy Carlos, he's on Hawkeye. And,
nice.
He's one of the jumpsuit mafia guys. So
whoa, cool.
It'd be pretty cool to kind of do that and see yourself. I just think it's neat because his kid watches it and it's like, oh my gosh, dad's in a superhero movie. That's
man.
Cool.
That's really cool. What is your most marked characteristic?
Marked characteristic?
Yeah. Marked.
Yeah. Marked.
However you emphasize it.
I don't know. I'm gonna pass on that one.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know where I would go.
That's all good. What do you most value in your friends?
I would say support, cheer me on, and because I cheer them on. I want to see them do good things.
Yeah.
And so I want to see that back. Yeah, that's the only reason I don't like playing golf with Tom. I'll hit a really good shot, and he's like, "That's pretty good." And
that was okay.
No, that was amazing. Please,
damn it, Tom.
Yeah,
you were perfect until then.
Deserves.
Yeah, respect me.
Right.
Who is your favorite writer or writers?
Writer or writers. Man,
could be book or comedy too.
Yeah, I'm thinking initial comedy writers. I really like Tommy Johnigan. He's a good writer.
Oh God, Chad
Daniels is a great writer.
He's great. He comes to Fargo all the time. Chad Daniels does.
Yeah, he's good. And then as far as books are concerned, I've always liked the Hunger Games series. I always thought she did great with that. And some people think it's like young adult, but I don't know. I read them and it spans
many ages, I think.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Who is your hero of fiction?
Hero of fiction. That's another interesting one. I don't know. I've always let's see. Now I'm thinking initially when you say fiction, you think books, but I think that TV also.
Yep, it could be that too.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll come back to that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who are your heroes in real life?
Who's the heroes in real life?
Yeah. Hero or heroes.
Yeah. I like a good friend of mine, Preacher Lawson is pretty good guy. Yeah. I started doing comedy with him. We came up.
I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah. He went on to America's Got Talent. He's doing big things. He's a very positive guy, very funny guy, great comedy career. And he's got a good heart, which you don't see in a lot of people, but
that's true.
Very good. Yeah, very good heart.
Nice. What are your favorite names? Weird question. Yeah, names.
Yeah, I've always liked my name, Devin. I don't know why. I just thought it was a good name. And then I named my kids after 90s rock stars.
Perfect.
Gavin and Liam. So Gavin Rossdale and Liam Gallagher.
Amazing.
So,
I love that.
It literally named my kid after Liam Gallagher. So
that's so cool. Great. Yeah. Which historical figure do you most identify with?
That's an interesting one. Historical figure that I most identify with. I'm trying to think of somebody I honestly, as weird as it is, aside from, I'm not a heavy, overly religious person,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say Jimmy Carter
Oh
is
yeah.
he seems to
Mm-hmm.
have his head right where he wants,
He
to help
does.
people and do good things and not take life so seriously.
Yeah.
I think on a personal level, not a political level, I think that he's a good person. So I'd like to identify
Mm-hmm.
with him. I don't want people to. I think it's kind of crazy, but when you say the name Jimmy Carter, I think a lot of people initially go, "Good guy,"
Yeah,
They
for
don't.
sure.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I would like that
Agreed.
association.
Yeah. He does a lot of great work.
Yeah,
Always has, really.
yeah.
What is it you most dislike? Very open question.
Just in general.
Just in general, man.
Yeah, but most dislike. I would say the negativity in the comment section online. There's so
Agreed.
many people think that everybody wants to hear their opinion, and we don't.
We don't. No.
They're not adding.
Nobody
anything.
cares.
A lot of people are not adding anything to any conversation. They're just ruining,
ruining a good one. Yeah, for sure. What is your greatest regret, if you have one?
Greatest regret. Well, that's the interesting thing. So when I first started teaching, I had turned down a job as a hotel planner for a top hotel company.
Wow.
And I would have been making a really good amount of money. And for a while, I regretted that. I thought that was my biggest regret. That I went because they literally offered me the job, and I said no. I want to go into teaching.
Sure.
But then
they're like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, but then teaching afforded me the opportunity to become a comedian, and I'm not sure if I would have been working 60 plus hours a week at the other job.
Not a lot of room.
Very corporate. Yeah, so then I'm like, well, maybe that happened for a reason, and I'm happy with that. So I don't say there are any big regrets, because every time I think that I have a big regret, it turns into a positive.
Turns into something. Well, that's great. It's worked out well for you. This is very dark. This next one. How would you like to die, Devin?
Definitely in my sleep, old age. I want to be like 140. I don't want to live. I enjoy life a lot. So I want to just keep it going as long as I can.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Amen to that.
But my diet doesn't say
right.
My diet's
it's easy to say these things
tomorrow,
yeah. Last question. What is your motto, if you have one?
I've always kind of been, so I do kind of have a motto, but it's not really a motto. It's a philosophy. I like the hummingbird. I've always thought the hummingbird was a fascinating bird. And I read an interesting analogy. If you've ever seen Benjamin Button, there's a weird hummingbird that kind of comes around throughout the movie. And the director, when I was reading a thing of interview, he said that the hummingbird is the quintessential stop and look around moment. He said, because he's moving so fast and nobody ever catches his beauty, he doesn't stop. And, and so you got to stop and observe everything and let things be beautiful and, enjoy life. And so it's kind of stop moving so fast. I have to keep, telling myself I have deadlines. I'm like, okay, I got to do this video today. And I'm like, but do I, maybe I can wait a little bit, and it's not a procrastination. It's let me go enjoy what I want to enjoy right now.
Exactly.
I'll work and do the things I need to on my time. So,
yeah, I like that. And with both of us being like distracted easily, that's good that you're able to ground yourself again and think that way.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to end that Marcel Proust questionnaire.
Awesome.
Any plugs you want to share? I mean, I'm sure.
Just devincomedy.com. Yeah, devincomedy.com has all my tour dates and everything. And then I've got a new Patreon that actually goes live today.
Yes.
And the Patreon was typically for the podcast, but we've kind of changed it up where we're going to have online shows, one online Zoom show a month of comedy and kind of a Zoom party, a lot of giveaways, merchandise, things like that. I've really stepped it up. So it used to be just, hey, bonus episode. Now it's bonus episode, tickets, meet and greets, things like that are fun. People want. So that's kind of the next step.
Very cool. And that's Patreon. Is that the Crying in My Car one?
Yeah, patreon.com/crying in my car.
Perfect. Everyone check it out, please. Dear listener, check it out. And then your Twitter and Instagram are both Devin Siebold.
Yep, Devin Siebold or Devin Comedy. I don't know. It's all over the place.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Search
me. It's there.
Yeah, search Devin Siebold Comedian on Facebook. Devin, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It was great having you.
Absolutely, man. Thanks.
Take care. Yeah, hopefully you'll get up to my neck of the woods someday soon. And if not, I'll keep watching you on the interwebs and on socials.
Hopefully about June would be nice.
Awesome. Yeah. June would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It would. Yeah.
Great. Well, take care of yourself, man. And we'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks so much, Devin. Bye.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye. Well, that wraps up my super fun interview with Mr. Devin Siebold, legend. Had a great time chatting with him. Thank you so much for listening to On the Rocks podcast, presented by supermetalworld.com. We really appreciate it. We are still a growing podcast, though, and we need your help. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts / Apple Music, on Stitcher, Spotify. Maybe write a quick review on Apple so we can climb in the charts. Follow On the Rocks on Facebook and on Instagram at ontherocks_podcast, and on Twitter at ontherocks_pod. Invite your music and pop culture loving friends to like our Facebook page too. We really would appreciate that. Invite your friends to follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. Like, comment, and share our posts, retweet, share a comment to your Instagram stories, whatever you can do to help. We'd appreciate it. If you like the podcast, visit ontherocks.podcast.com for everything else you need for our podcast. Past episodes, all that. Want to sponsor us or be on the show? Hit up ontherocks podcast1@gmail.com. We'd love to partner with you or have you on the show. We like cool people. Okay. Thanks for listening again to On the Rocks podcast. I'm Nate Callens, and I'll see you next time. Please subscribe, like and subscribe and comment. Bye.